I don't think we've done a super good job of introducing ourselves. Have we even introduced ourselves on any of these?
I don't think so.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Why don't you start?
I'm Lindsay. And
Any
this
more?
is Jaden.
Okay. I'm Jaden.
We live in Utah,
Yep.
Utah County. We have two
Mhm.
dogs. We have our son Fletcher and we have our son Royce, who passed away in 2018.
Yep.
Um,
What else about us? What led us here?
well, we started a jewelry company after our son Royce passed away. And we did that for a while, and then it kind of became something that just, I don't know, just kind of wasn't, just felt like that part of our lives was coming to an end because it was kind of part of our grieving process, and I feel like we were kind of done with that part of our grief, if that makes sense. And so then Jaden's always really wanted to be, a content creator. He does really good job at doing those types of things, so decided to start a podcast.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say we have gone through a lot of different chapters, I would say, in our life. Like, it seems like our marriage has been very, like, been segmented. And, yeah, Riley Royce was probably our longest chapter of our marriage. We did it for almost 5 years. So, but yeah, I'm liking this new chapter, and not that we're done grieving. It's just we are hoping to kind of focus on more of the positive things, right? Riley Royce was really tied to like Royce and his death,
and it was just sad, and I just felt like it really took a toll, at least for me. I don't just on my mental health specifically. So I just felt like we were kind of stuck in that specific grieving process.
So that's us.
Yeah.
Jaden and Lindsay. So this is episode 4 of Between Us. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
It's been really fun to take segments of this and post it to Instagram and TikTok. I'm kind of getting roasted in the comments, but
Deserved.
Deserved.
Just kidding.
And last episode, we forgot to do a debate, so we will not forget this time.
I've got a debate.
You have one?
I sure do.
Okay, Lindsay's ready. So, last time we kind of mixed things around, but I feel like would be good this episode to start with Know It All.
Okay.
Because it's just a simple one. There's not too much to it. So, okay, Know It All. So this segment is Name-a. So it's kind of a question that begins with name a blank. Okay. So this week it is name a time where you were the happiest.
Wow. I don't know. That's a hard question. Name a time that I was the happiest.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there was that. So the first thing that comes to mind, I think, is that summer we were in California right before Royce passed away. Like, I just felt like everything was going so well. You were doing well, selling.
Yeah.
Like, me and Royce were going to the pool every day. We're going to the beach. We're going to Disneyland every weekend. Like, we were having so much fun. And I feel like my what do you call your schedule? My routine was just like, I just felt like everything was going right, I guess. And I just felt so like I was in the right place and I was so happy. Yeah. But I just feel like maybe that was for a reason, I guess you could say, because then what follows was like the most devastating part of our lives, So I don't know if that was just kind of like a time where we were, allowed to be so happy because we were about to experience something so terrible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that does make sense. I think, when I think back to times where like I was worry-free, it was definitely during that.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's true. I feel like I didn't have any worries.
Yeah, we were just hitting our stride and like everything was coming together. I feel like our marriage was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, finances were fine as well. Like you said, I was doing really well selling, but yeah. And then I think I have shared about this, but I feel like the week leading up to Royce's accident, I like started just feeling weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to explain it, but like, I remember I was listening to this podcast and like it made me cry, and the podcast is like so dumb.
They're just like funny guys.
They're like funny guys, and so there was really no reason, but for some reason I was just like bawling my eyes out during this podcast. And I've talked about it, but I called you and like, because I literally couldn't stop crying, and this was separate from crying with the podcast, so it was just like, it was just so weird. And like, looking back, you see, I don't know what that was, but something was definitely like getting us ready for that day, right? Cool. As far as like times when I think I was the happiest, I remember a moment, I think it was, and obviously like, the birth of our sons was awesome, right? And like the happiest, but for the sake of a story, a time that I can remember was we were in our house previous to this one, and I think maybe it was beginning of last year, and just like everything was kind of set. Like we talked about on, one of the episodes about how money really is my medicine, and like when we're secure financially, then I can like really, really feel at peace and like calm, right? But when it's not, it's hard for me to feel like that. But during that time, I felt like we were like the most financially stable we've ever been. And I remember sitting in my office, and I was like, I had lost like 30 or 40 pounds at that time of weight, and was in a really good routine. We were maybe going into the office every now and then, and like the lifestyle was great, so and I remember sitting there and like I had the thought of like I should take this in, because throughout life you just go through so many ebb and flow. Like,
it's true.
And when you're in the rut, you're like, you think back to those times, you're like, why didn't I take that in? Why didn't I realize I was in the good days, right? But in that moment, I was like, I'm gonna really like take in this feeling of like, I don't really have any worries right now. Like I feel really good, mentally I felt good, and it was a moment I truly felt like real happiness. But that is something that I've like struggled with, I feel like, since losing Royce, is feeling happy.
I feel like it's hard to let yourself feel completely happy, because I feel like a piece of you is missing, and I feel like you feel a little bit guilty being truly happy without, one of your loved ones that you just want so desperately to be here. So it's like, how can I be truly happy if I'm missing Royce,
Yeah, and I think also like when we lost Royce, I had to suppress so many of my feelings, those sad feelings, in order for me to be able to just operate in my day-to-day life, right? I couldn't just lay in bed all day, so I just suppressed my feelings. But I think what happened is, not only was I suppressing sadness, I was also suppressing my joy. And so then once I started like going to therapy and like, I realized I had been numb for years. Like I hadn't really had any feeling. I didn't feel sadness, but also didn't feel any happiness. And so that is something that I like am focusing a lot on now, is just like, I want to feel joy, and I think that's kind of the next thing I really want to dive into in my life, is like, how do I maximize the feeling of joy?
Yeah.
Right? Because I know what I need to do to be happy, or like, feel fulfilled, but like, how do I really maximize these feelings of joy? Because there was moments where we would be somewhere and I'm like, I should be like so stoked, feel so happy, and it was just like I was almost just numb, right? And I was like, I felt like something was wrong with me. So yeah, I feel like this new chapter is really a great one for
Yeah.
us to be able to just experience this joy and have these moments where we can sit there and just like really take in, these moments. Because, yeah, when you're not in them and things are tough, you wish you would have like really taken advantage of the good old days.
Yeah.
Right. So, that was awesome.
Yeah. Unexpected.
Yeah. I wasn't sure where that was going to go. Okay. From that, we'll jump into submissions. So, while I'm pulling this up, okay, one thing that we want to mention is please submit. It really helps us with this podcast. It's probably the main portion of the podcast.
Yeah.
So go right now, pause this video, go to the description, click on that link, and put in a submission. You can tell us that we should check something out. You can ask us a question or even tell your own story. So, but the submissions so far have been amazing and really funny, interesting, deep. So whatever you have, we just ask that you'll submit them. So, okay, you ready for question or submission number 1?
Ready.
Okay. Here we go. As someone going through their own faith crisis,
Okay, here we go.
what has been the hardest mental hurdle you've had to overcome, and how did you do it?
That's a good question. I feel like the hardest thing I've mentally is I feel like my perception of God was so tied up in my religion that now I kind of don't really, like, I still believe in God because I just feel like there's so much in this world that is so miraculous that I just feel like it couldn't just happen. So the thing I'm struggling with is figuring out who God is to me without the constraints of what I was taught who he was, because he's tied to my old beliefs, I guess you could say. And because I don't really believe the same anymore, I don't want to be like, I do have a little bit of like animosity towards the church. I still love the people in the church. I love some of the good teachings, but I have a little bit of animosity, and so I don't want to have animosity towards God, because that's just what I was taught who he is. So I'm trying to formulate my own ideas, formulate like how involved he is in my life. One thing I really had a hard time with, I know you did as well, was, again, like going back to Royce, it was just such like a huge like moment in our life that it was hard to believe that God would do that to us, And we had like so many people like praying and fasting and whatever, and it was just hard because you're taught that if you have like all this faith, and we had so many people praying and he didn't make it, and so it was just hard to believe that God would do that. And so I just feel like I'm just trying to figure out, is God really as involved as we think he is, or is he just kind of watching over us and he's just kind of, I don't know. So that's just the biggest mental hurdle, I think.
Now you've done it. Yep.
Next
Sorry.
question.
No, I think, yeah, that's totally it. It's like you just feel betrayed, Because I was like confident he was going to live, And I felt like he was going to make it, but like, and at first I could justify it with being like, it was his time, But it just didn't feel right because it felt like he should be here. And yeah, I think I've had to like go through those things, like emotions and feelings of like, you know, if there is a God above, like nobody like worshipped him or like gave him everything more than us. I felt like we really did devote so much of our life and like times to him that it was like I did feel very betrayed and like couldn't fully understand why a God that, you know, his servant was so like dedicated to him and like so faithful to him would do something like that.
Yeah, that would, I feel like, cause a life, I mean, a lifetime for us, at least, of a little bit of suffering, you know, for the rest of our life. Which I don't, obviously a lot of people go through stuff like this, and I don't know, it's just something that I've always kind of questioned, I guess.
Yeah. What is kind of your hopes with God?
I mean, honestly, I feel like since I've kind of gone through my faith crisis and kind of stepping away from the beliefs I once had, I feel like I'm kind of more open and hopeful, I guess you could say, because I feel like everything hinged on my actions and whether God was going to reward me, you know, with certain things. So I feel like I'm not so worried about God providing things for me based on the way I live, if that makes sense. So I feel like I have a better relationship. I feel like God does love everyone. Obviously, bad things just happen. And I do feel like I'm better able to understand. Like, I feel like a majority of the people in the world believe that they'll see their loved ones again after this life. I don't think that's something that's specific to a certain religion. And I just feel like I know I'm going to be with Royce again, and it's not tied to all these rules that I was following, if that makes sense. Like, I feel a lot less guilty. I feel a lot more love to everyone I feel like around me because I'm not judging what they're doing and how they're living. And so I just feel more optimistic, I guess, about life and about the world, and which I'm sure people will be surprised to hear, but I mean, that's my journey, and that's how I feel.
How do you feel like you're going to like learn who God is? You know.
Sorry, that's probably the question you were.
That's okay. No.
I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm just living.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've already had experiences, you know. I just feel like there's little things in life that are miracles in themselves and coincidences that I just feel like kind of God sometimes has a little bit of a hand in, but I just don't think he's like directing every little aspect of my life. As long as you're a good person, I feel like the more it's hard to explain. I feel like I'm kind of just hoping that eventually I'll just kind of get to a place where like I know that God's there, but I don't need like his direction for every little thing, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I'm fine with the way I am right now. Like, I don't need to know like where God is right now. I feel like I'm just content with how it is right now.
How has your lifestyle changed since leaving the church?
I feel like my lifestyle is actually still pretty similar to how it was. I just don't go to church on Sundays, and I don't really, I'm not so particular on like the things I do and the things I watch and the things I say, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So I guess I'm just a little bit more relaxed on those things. But other than that, I feel like my lifestyle is the same.
Cool. Great answer.
I do have some tattoos, and that's it.
Yeah, tattoos are probably the biggest. Okay. Wow, we've gotten deep this
Yeah, I know.
episode.
What's happening?
We started it off saying we're moving on to happy things.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, never mind.
No, I think that's what I want from this is I want to be able to talk about the good and the bad.
Yeah.
You know, I want us to be able to just share the things that we want to share, you know, and I think, you know, I trust our community and those that follow us enough that, you know, I feel comfortable sharing these things with them. I feel like they're, you know, we have built up a great community of people that truly understand our story because they were there from the beginning, most of them, right?
So, yeah, and I feel like I stumbled across that question a lot, but it's because I feel like I'm still kind of working through it myself, so I don't know. Yeah,
because it's, you know, it's still very fresh, I would say, as far as like fully committing to that. And
yeah, I'm just happy where I'm at right now, so.
Yep. Okay. Do you want to read the next one?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Is it really such a bad thing to sell feet pics? We've had this conversation. It says groceries
about my feet pics.
No, about anyways, we'll get to that. It says groceries aren't getting any cheaper and your girl is poor. Seriously though, I'm a stay-at-home mom to 3 small children and I love it. However, we're living in hard times, obviously, and I'm sure my husband would appreciate some financial help. But if I were to go back to work, daycare costs would eat up 98% of my paycheck. I'm really very seriously considering selling feet pics. Thoughts? I don't know what I even brought it up, but I said, what did I even say? I said,
I don't know. We were
driving, and I was like, do you think people really make like good money from selling feet pics? And we had a discussion, and then I was like, maybe I should try selling some feet pics. Gina's like,
oh, I appreciate you wanting to help financially. I understand that.
But I don't see a problem with it one bit. I'm like, it's your feet. If someone wants your feet pics, then cool. But we did decide that I think you have to be kind of like...
Yeah, my thought is that 99% of people that try to sell feet pics don't make any money.
Yeah, because I feel you kind of have to be like well known already, like have a good following. But who knows? I've never looked into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think people... Yeah, you can't just throw up pictures of your feet and think you're going to become rich.
I don't know. You could try it.
But I would say, you know, if you're willing to promote yourself as the girl that sells feet pics.
Or not. You could be anonymous. People don't need to know that you're the person that has the feet.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think that's weird.
No, just try it. Go for it. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. You do you, but I don't know.
I mean, you won't receive any judgment from me, so.
And no judgment from me. I just think that, like, you got to understand once you put it out there.
They're just your feet.
I know, but it's there forever. You just got to be okay with that.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
You know, so. But if you're struggling financially, get that back. Like, whatever it takes, right? So, okay. Next question. All right. Has my name in it, so let's see. Jaden talking about his fear of going to the bathroom in public reminded me about the movie theater incident. Oh, no. This must be someone we know.
It has to be.
You should tell that story.
That is a good story.
No. Speaking of putting things out there that you can never pull back. I literally was thinking that this morning. I'm like, you know, this is cool because I think we'll look back and it'll be like nostalgic to see ourselves in this moment. But at the same time, like, we might put out some embarrassing things that it's fine, but I just know that it can be a little cringe, right? So, all right, I'll tell this story.
Okay.
So, my dad reached out to us and he said, "Hey guys, I got tickets to Avatar 2. Right? Would you guys like to come?" So we were like, sure. They were like rented out a
theater for his business.
Yep. So we end up going and it was like early.
Like 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah, 9 a.m. So we go up to the movie, and we're sitting there. And if you've seen Avatar 2, it's like super long.
Yeah.
Super duper long. So
Jaden wouldn't know. He never finished it.
Okay, I'm getting there. Spoiler alert. Jeez. Okay, so we go there. The movie's like, I don't know, 3 hours long or more. But it got to a point, I was like, this seems like a good point to go to the bathroom. And as we talked about on one of the episodes, is I don't like public bathrooms, but I had really had to go. So I go in there. Why am I telling this? What am I doing? All right, so I was like, this is a good point to leave. So I go and like the theater's dead because it's so early. But I go into the bathroom and I went in because I had to pee. But when I went in there, I thought to myself, well, I'm here, so why not go number 2? And so I go and sit down. And I'm sitting on the toilet and I pee, right, as you do.
On the toilet,
On
yes.
the toilet. And I'm peeing, and then all of a sudden I look down. I'm like, the frick? Why is there a puddle under me? Like, under my shoes. I'm like, what the heck? And then I look and I realize, oh my gosh, my pants are wet. The back of my pants are wet. And then I realized that the way that the toilet bowl was shaped, it was just, my pee was just ramping off the toilet bowl and just going onto the back of my pants. And we're only like halfway through this movie.
We're far from home.
Far
it's like
from
45
home.
minutes.
So I get up. I'm like, what the freak do I do? So I'm like, I'm just going to pull my pants up and just go to the car and drive home and have Lindsay figure it out. Well, no, we had a family party, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right
we had at your dad's house, who lived close to the theater.
Yes. So I'm like, going, truck into the car, and I get to the car and realize I left the keys in the theater room.
With his sweatshirt.
So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I call Lindsay. Did I call you or text you?
Texted, I think. You said, I need to go home.
Yeah, I said, I need to go home. And she said, why? And I was like,
I just peed
my pants. And she's like, what? How? And I'm like, I can't explain this
just
over
bring me
text.
the keys.
I'm like, just bring me the keys to the car. So she gets to the car, but then I'm like, I don't really want to sit in my pee for 45 minutes. So I took my pants off and drove home commando in our car.
And I stayed and finished the movie.
Yep. So that's that story. And then after, like, I always tell people what I'm doing. I'm always like, oh, I'm going to Avatar. So everyone, when I got back, was like,
How was Avatar?
how was Avatar? I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know. It was good, I guess. The first half is great. Okay. All right, that's enough of that one. Okay, thank you. All right, do you want to ask this next one?
Oops. Let's see. What did your business look like for the first year? I'm hoping you'll share the raw and not always seen side of the entrepreneurship. Many people think owning your own business is all butterflies and rainbows, but it really seems harder than a corporate 8 to 5.
It is definitely harder.
It is hard.
Than a corporate 8 to 5.
Yes. I would say it's, I don't know. I feel like the first year I feel like went better than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously you're still learning. And so we put our jewelry on our website, you know, and we're selling. We're thinking we're making all this money.
Yeah.
Then Jaden goes to our tax guy, and the tax guy was like, if you don't raise your prices, you guys are going to go out of business.
Yeah, that was crazy
Yeah.
eye-opening. And it was like, we were just such newbies in the business world. Like, I'm pretty sure our, like, sales deposits were just going to, like, our personal banks. Like, we didn't separate anything, so it was hard to, like, know where money was coming in, what money was going out. Like, it was just a complete mess. And like Lindsay said, we had sales, so we're like, we have sales.
Yeah,
we
we're
must
doing
be
great.
Doing great.
Yeah.
But we forgot that we also have expenses, right? And like, yeah, so I scheduled our first tax meeting with our accountant and went and met with him, and he's looking at the books and he's like, dude, like, you guys are in trouble. And I was like, what? Like, we have, like, no, look at the sales. And he's like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, if you guys continue this, by the end of the year, you're going to be out of business. And I remember calling Lindsay after that meeting being like, we got to make some major changes.
Yeah,
to
Jaden
our
was
business.
scared.
I was terrified. Like, I was really, really scared because he was pretty much saying, like, it's going to be hard for you guys to climb out of this.
Yeah.
So we ended up raising our prices. We also just, I think, got lucky with some really good products that sold well during that same time. But yeah, if you're looking to start a business and you think it's going to be, you know, complete freedom and like, you know, it gives you freedom in another sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we loved it. Like it was so nice to be able to
nice.
create your own schedule and be your own boss, but it's hard. Like it's a lot of work you have to put in to learn everything.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's like our first year, it was just me making the jewelry, so I was working probably 9 a.m. till like 10 p.m. just making jewelry all day, every day. So yeah, if you're willing to like put in the work, for sure, I would say it's worth it. But I would say to learn all the ins and outs before you jump into anything. And
yep.
But
have the right tools.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's the whole reason we like created those guides, those business guides, because we know, like, if you start a business, it can literally be so life-changing for you. Like, it can alter the course of the rest of your life, right? In a good way. And so we were like, we want other people to have that we had. And if I had those tools that we had, we would have saved.
And not made a lot of the mistakes that we would have made.
Yep. And another hard thing was just navigating like growth.
Yeah.
Like you may get sales, but that brings on a whole nother issue when you have to start hiring.
Yeah.
You have to get, an office space. Like it becomes a whole new beast.
Right. And there's like times a year, obviously Christmas is a huge time of year. Mother's Day was huge for us, but like a lot of the other the other months were kind of slower. So then you kind of have to like just work with that as well. So it's just a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Practice what you what's the word I'm looking for?
I have no idea.
It's a lot of trial and error.
There you go.
Practice. I'm like,
practice makes perfect.
That's what I was thinking.
Trial and error. Yeah, it really is that. And like, you just have to be prepared and willing. Yeah. Like, entrepreneurship isn't for everybody.
Right.
Like, it takes a certain type of person.
Right. Jaden, for instance, like if I wasn't married to Jaden, I probably wouldn't. I couldn't hack it as an entrepreneur.
But I feel like we were good, like
together,
a team.
Yeah,
right? It took both of us, and so yeah, I think But as far as like quick tips, have a really good accountant. Number one, because you don't know what to charge, right? And you need someone that can be like, this is what you need to charge to cover your expenses, and this is what you need to charge if you want to have some left over, right? I think number two is I am very weary of getting into business with someone else. Like, if you're going to have a business partner, make sure you get a lawyer that structures it in a way that protects you, the business, and your partner.
Yeah, right? I just feel like, sometimes, obviously, it can work, but I feel like a lot of times, especially if it's someone that it can a lot of times ruin the relationship.
Yep. And then I would say the third thing is, dedicate all of your time to it. Like, if you do it part-time, it's going to be really hard to make it work, honestly. Like, you have to go all in, right? And like, we had the benefit that we were able to just dedicate, like Lindsay said, we'd literally wake up, go into Royce's old nursery that we turned into our shop, right? And we would be in there from morning until we were both like, oh, I can't even stay awake anymore. So, yeah, just be prepared for that. But advice, yeah, just make sure it's a passion, right? If it's
For
not,
sure.
those hard days are going to be extra hard. And, yeah, just structure it right from the beginning. So, and this isn't a sales pitch, but if you are thinking of starting a business or you have and it's not going as well as you thought, I'd highly recommend checking out the guides we've created.
They're awesome.
They are seriously full of so much good things. You can go click the link in both Why We Dreams Instagram bio or find my Instagram bio, and you'll find them there. So if you're thinking of starting a business, my advice is always yes, do it.
Do it.
Like, go for it. You'll never regret going after something, even if it fails, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was the biggest thing for me with Why We Dream was I was sitting there and thinking, like, I want to be able to tell Fletcher that I took risks, right? And I took chances and I pursued my passions, because the worst thing I think for me as a father that I could show or tell Fletcher is, like, go the safe route. You know, just put your head down, work, retire when you're 65. Like, that just doesn't feel right to me, right? I want to live a life that I'm happy with now, right? Don't work a job that you hate. Don't continue going down a journey just because others tell you that's the journey you should go down, right? I think, like, if I could pass one thing on to Fletcher, is just my ability to, like, take risks and, like, understand, calculate them, right? But go after things. Like this, what we're doing right now is, like, you know, I always think back 2 years ago, I'd be terrified to do a podcast because I'd be like, oh, I'm not entertaining enough. I'm not good looking enough or whatever, right? Like, I would have all these doubts, but I feel like I'm just at a point in my life where if I want to do something, I'm going to go do it, right? Like, and people might say, oh, well, you should do this. No, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do right now in my life, right? So, yeah, go start that business. It will definitely pay off. So, okay, I think that's all the submissions. So now we get to the juicy part, which is settle our debate. So, you said you had something.
Yeah,
you have something juicy?
Maybe not like super juicy, but this happened yesterday. So yesterday I leave the house for like 2 hours.
Oh my gosh, Lindsay.
I come home, I open the garage, and all of a sudden my 2 small dogs are running out of the garage. And so I had to stop my car because I don't want to run them over. I had to bring them inside before I could pull my car in the garage. And as I'm coming inside, there was a garbage bag that we set out in the garage to be taken to the garbage. Big garbage. And they had gotten in the garbage, and there was garbage everywhere.
Okay.
So I came in and I said, Jaden, you left the door to the garage open, and then you shut the dogs in there.
Wait.
Okay.
Okay. Run that back.
Okay, rewind.
Run that back.
So I said,
No. Okay, I'll continue this story.
Okay, go.
So earlier that day, I walked over and the garage door was open, and Silo was in the garage. And I said, Lindsay, you left the garage door open. Silo's in the garage. So brought him inside. Then I'm sitting there working.
So wait, this has already happened one time that day, just so you know.
Because of who?
Well, so
who left the garage door
no,
open?
it's not that we leave the garage door open. So our door, for some reason, like, will just, if you don't literally slam it shut.
No.
Yes, it will come.
Shut it.
It'll just come open, because even at night we're sitting on the couch and all of a sudden the door will open. It's kind of scary. You know that happens all the time.
But that's ghosts.
It's not ghosts. It's because the door is bad.
Okay.
It's a bad door, okay? So anyways, I had Fletcher, that was probably my first mistake when leaving. I had Fletcher close the door, but I then pulled it to make sure it was all the way closed. And so I remember doing that. So I'm like, okay, it's all the way closed. So I was surprised when the dogs came running out the garage. So anyways, the debate is because Jade, while I was gone, the door probably swung open without anyone opening it.
I'll tell you what happened. I was there.
Yeah, and then
You
what?
want me to tell
Yes,
you?
I went back and looked on the camera to make sure you didn't purposely shut our
Oh
dogs in the
my
garage.
gosh. Oh my goodness.
I did. I am admitting. I thought maybe you were annoyed at the dogs, so you opened the garage door, shoot them out there, and shut the door.
You think so highly of me. What is wrong with you?
Well, I did-
You think I would just shut the dogs outside? Have I ever done that?
No, but I know you were trying to film something, so maybe they were being like loud or something. I don't know.
No, here's the truth. Lindsay left the door open and I was working
I didn't
and
leave the
saw that
door
it was
open.
open. So I went, shut the door.
Without
Just walked from my office, pushed the door closed, and went back to work. So the debate is it Lindsay's fault for not closing the door, or is it my fault for just closing the door?
without that, is it your fault? Like, should you have checked to make sure the dogs were out there? Because remember earlier, Silo was out there, so
No
you didn't.
way.
I looked on the camera. You were coming back from our room. Didn't even look out there. Just shut
Yeah.
it. You didn't even look to see if the dogs were out there.
Okay, if you're watching this right now, I better see some Jadens in the comments. I better. You guys have sided with Lindsay.
But
on
just so
almost
you know,
all of
I
these.
didn't make. I tried to get Jaden to help me clean up the garbage, but I cleaned it up by myself. If that makes you feel any better.
Wow, you just keep adding layers. Is that the second debate?
No, that's part of this debate.
Okay, thank you. Oh man, how long are we gonna do this segment?
Till we don't have any more debates.
Yeah, okay. Alrighty, so that's it. I think that was a good
Yeah, I
episode. I
think
really
so.
enjoyed talking through some of the things like, Faith and Royce and the other fun stuff. So, couple of things. If you are watching this right now and you are one of the 45% of people that watch and aren't subscribed, please just hit the subscribe button. Trust us, we're going to have even better content coming out. So, we'd really appreciate it if you helped us reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. This last week was awesome. We gained a ton of new subscribers. So consider that. The other thing is submit questions, stories, whatever, to our submission form. So other than that, tune in next week. These come out every Tuesday for the next episode of Between Us.
Thank you.